Hello and welcome to another edition of Florida Sportsman Action Spotter Podcast. I'm Captain Rick Riles. We got a special feature for you tonight. Listen, we all know if you stop and think, nobody's catching the Mahi we used to. Well, a bunch of us went to the council complaining about it, and in my opinion, they pretty much slapped us in the face by reducing the limit from 60 fish per boat to 54. That's insufficient. That's not going to do enough to help anything, in my opinion. So I gathered a panel of three experts, and they don't get any better on the water than this. We've got Captain John Reynolds with SAFE, the South Atlantic Fishing Environmentalist, Captain Nick Stanczyk out of Bud and Mary's, the captain of the Broad-Minded, and none other than Captain Ray Rocher from the Miss Brit Fleet. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing well.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Doing
right.
Fantastic. John, bring us up to date a little bit, if you would, on SAFE. SAFE is designed to teach people, I guess, that fishermen can be environmentalists too?
Yeah, I guess that's the basic idea, we're just fishermen that knew we needed to do something. Long-time fishermen, seeing a lot of changes on the water, and just recognizing that something had to be done and trying to find a way to get it done. And so, the best way is in numbers. So we grouped together and tried to join our efforts to move into management decisions with SAFE, and that's what we're working on with SAFE.
Fantastic. Captain Nick and Alamorada, do you guys feel like you're seeing fewer and maybe smaller Mahi than you used to?
Definitely. I mean, there's some good weeks where everything's good and great, but if you took looking at what we catch all summer long, compared to years back, it's not what it used to be, that's for sure.
Ray, how long have you been running charters out of Miami?
Started in 79. Some of the guys that were fishing before me said that, there were good years and bad years, but I would have to say the last 3 or 4 years have been much lower than, many years before that. But I think it's effort that's going to involve a lot of people. It's not any one group that's causing it. I think I think it definitely needs attention.
Yeah, well, I can tell you up here in Northeast Florida, guys, as much as I hate to say it because I love catching them with all my heart, but it's a shadow of what it used to be. And 10 to 15 fish right now is a very good Mahi day. And it used to be, all right, we've got 8 or 10, let's put out some big lures and go marlin fishing because we got to get away from these things. And that's not it. Now it's an all-day affair to try and make up enough Mahi to make up a box. John, I know, got very concerned about it, and you and Blair got together with a Save the Mahi drive. I think that's fantastic. What would SAFE like to see? What do you want? Do you want less harvest? Do you want seasons? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I think less harvest with a fish like Mahi that has the potential to grow and spawn so fast and recover. Any kind of changes we're seeing can be recovered in a pretty short manner, we feel. We don't want to see any closed seasons. In an overall sense, there's so many people that target these fish. It's so important to every single angler. I mean, every single boat owner, first-time owner that wants to go out and try to catch a large fish, Mahi's it. It's the foundation, of all offshore fishing. So we want that, open and accessible. But we need stock to stay sustainable. And less harvest. We can definitely deal with some smaller harvesting, and we need to move that across every sector and find out what we can do to try to harvest less fish on a daily basis to give these fish more time in the water to spawn and grow more daily and annually, really.
I tell you, I've always called them a gateway fish, and I think they are a gateway fish. I think you can go offshore and catch a 20-pound kingfish, and you may escape that drug. You go offshore and catch a 20-pound Mahi, and he jumps all over the place, and he's so lit up, and then you take him home and eat him. You're done, dude. You're a fisherman. That's how it's going to be. Ray, you've probably got more insight than anybody I've ever known. I used to work with Don Hammond before I wrote a book for the magazine about dolphin, but you've taken it even further. the thing that makes me so excited about the future of dolphin, this really probably is a problem we can fix in the next 2-3 years, isn't it?
I hope so. I mean, some of the biologists I work with, Rosenstiel School, explained, how prolific they are. In their tank, they harvest the eggs, so they know exactly how, the quantity of eggs that they lay in a 24-hour period, and it's generally about 5% of the body weight of the females. And we had a fish that we put in the tank that in 9.5 months went from about 5 pounds to over 56 pounds, documented on a digital scale. So, granted those were, perfect conditions, tons of food, no predators, but it just shows you how fast they can grow. Probably in the wild, I would guess 20 to 30 pounds a year. They're super important.
In 2-3 years, we could be seeing 40, 50-pound mahi again, which would be fantastic in my world. Nick, how much have you seen the size fall off? That's what concerns me as much as the numbers is we're not seeing the big slammers up here in Northeast Florida at all anymore.
I'd say it's the same down here. I mean, we still catch a few here and there, but being a kid growing up there at the marina every day, it'd be nothing to see each charter boat have 4 or 5 big fish and plenty of other schoolies and medium-sized fish. And if you caught 4 or 5 big ones nowadays, everyone's jumping up and down. I mean, even this summer, I swordfish most of the time, but I run in and out and I stop on birds and debris. I mean, I only caught 3 or 4 dolphins over 20 pounds this summer, to be honest with you. Usually just coming and going from swordfishing, we catch quite a few more than that.
All right, I got to ask you guys, and from what Don Hammond told me and from what Ray Rocher told me, habitat is so important, which means that sargassum, I know if you pick up a clump of sargassum and shake it out, we so often get these little tiny newborn mahi. Guys, I feel like I'm seeing as much sargassum, if not more, than I've seen in the last 10 years. Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. There's more weeds than normal, but I can't explain why we're not seeing more mahi. But, I'm real anxious to see what happens next year. And, hopefully it's a cycle like Buddy Carey was one I asked when I was a kid. And he talked about good years and bad years long ago. But I think this is a little different. I think John touched on it before. We've got, so many more boats in the fishery, faster boats, a lot of technology, and just general knowledge of how to do things that wasn't there maybe 20 years ago. And I think that adds some pressure. There's more long line pressure than there was, 20 years ago. And I'm not faulting any one group. Everybody has the right to the fishery, and I really want to, John touched on it. We don't want to see closed seasons. So how do we get there? And, efficient use of the mahi and not wasting them and, taking a reasonable amount sounds like the right direction.
I think, or maybe I'm just being Pollyannish, I think most recreational fishermen's attitudes are getting better. I'm starting to talk with more guys that are saying, yeah, we get 6 or 8 or we get 10 and then we go bottom fishing. But it's got to become across the board. We've got to kind of all be that way. And I know how frustrating it's been fighting with the South Atlantic Council over stuff like red snapper, which has gotten so far out of control, Goliath grouper, which to me was another just downright silly decision. And I know it's easy to throw up your hands and say, I'm not gonna send them a petition. I'm not gonna talk to them. But guys, the alternative is we lose our fishing, right?
Yeah, and what we have to remember, as we look around at, all of our fellow fishermen, charter boats, recreational, commercial, as we're looking at each other out there and we're thinking about the future and the kids and, and one guy's experience on this one day that he might get out there with his kids. And if I have the potential or anyone else has the potential to make a sacrifice to keep that many less fish in a day, even if I have the potential to catch them, those might have been the fish that might have got to him that day for his kid to have that exceptional day to remember and change his entire experience in life. And then the rest of those fish that might get by them might be the fish for the next day for someone else. And then when those fish make it all around that cycle, smaller fish equal bigger fish, bigger fish equal more. And the trend that we want to move forward with if we can.
Yeah, that's very well said, John. And I'm notorious for telling the story about moving down here when I was 7 years old, and somebody took us offshore and we caught a bonita. and we had moved from Milwaukee. We took the whole bonita, put it in the freezer, and when everybody came down from Milwaukee to get away from the wintertime, we had to show it to them. So we all had our picture made with the Riles family tuna. Well, if somebody would have caught and killed that tuna for no reason, that experience never would have happened, and you guys might be talking to somebody a lot smarter than me. But you're exactly right. We have got to get that guy his first mahi, and the way to do it is for us to give up a few, and it's got to happen across the board.
You know what Yamaha outboards love? The genuine formula and consistency of Yamalu marine engine oils.
What?
Outboards are subjected to punishing conditions like high loads, salt, and humidity, a mix that automotive oils can't handle. Yamalu full synthetic and marine performance formulas are certified to protect against friction and corrosion for reliable performance every time. Find Yamalu marine oils at your nearest Yamaha outboard dealer. Locate them at yamahaoutboards.com/dealers. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Hey, Raj, being consistent is a mark of a quality product. If you've been Florida's #1 chum for over 10 years, there's got to be a reason.
For 10 years, Tournament Master Chum has lived up to its name. That's why more tournament pros insist on Tournament Master than any other chum. It's the only chum with Menhaden milk mixed right in. That means it gets the scent out faster and deeper than any other brand of chum. It comes in a grind size for every species from kingfish to catching bait. Your fishing time is way too precious to you second-rate chum. Bring the action to you by insisting on Tournament Master Chum. It's worth every penny.
When you're ready for the finest in custom-made flat spay or inshore-offshore hybrids, you are ready to meet the Young family in Inglis, Florida. For over 21 years, the Young family has built custom boats one at a time for every type of fishing. Nothing can sneak up on a flat quite like the Gulf Shore flats boats, and I've never fished a better hybrid than the Young 24s and 27s. Rob Young is a naval architect who takes tremendous pride in each and every build for each and every customer that wants their boat custom built exactly the way they want it. Is it time for you to move up? Are you ready to own the finest boat built? Then you need to visit the Young Boat facility in Inglis, Florida, or check them out online at youngboats.com. Ray, do you see any hope on the horizon? Can angler involvement pull this off, do you think?
I think so. I mean, like John said, if everybody is satisfied with catching fewer, but still having enough for dinner, I think there's, it can't hurt. But they're so prolific, all of that adds up. And I heard one of the charter boats say the other day, 20 is plenty, when he's talking about cleaning them. So, I think the attitude changed. When I was a kid, if you didn't catch 50, you were feeling pretty bad about yourself, kind of like Nick said. But it's a different world, and I think everybody's understanding that it's not a limitless population. So I think we got to be smart about it.
Yep. And unlike red snapper and the Pew Foundation, they said would take 35 years for them to come back. This is a problem that those fish are so prolific and they grow so fast. If we take a little pressure off of them and give them a chance, I'm convinced we can have mahi for the rest of our lifetime and maybe a long time to come. John, tell us a little bit more about how guys can get involved, what they need to do if they want to join SAFE, and if they want to sign the petition. Of course, we want everybody to go to floridasportsman.com/SaveTheMahi and sign the petition. But tell us more about what SAFE's working on.
Yeah, definitely. Either link, really, safefishing.org has some more information about us. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can make a donation. You can sign the petition on there. You can listen to a short video, just about what we think about, the direction of this and which way we think it should go. And, just join the effort. We're all in this together, man. This is all of our fishery, really, and as we look ahead, we got to have a vision of what we want. And I want to see a lot of big fish hanging again. I want to see a lot of big fish out there. I want to see a lot of high-fiving. And that's what it's about, man. We want to catch it. I'm a fisherman. I mean, that's all I've ever been. We want to catch them, but we need to think about the bigger picture. And, so safefishing.org, and you can check us out and see what else we've been involved in.
You've got it. Well, I couldn't have spoken to three greater guys to give us the state of mahi, and I think we're all pretty much in agreement that they are under a little too much stress and we need to back it off, and that has to happen through lower limits. The Save the Mahi petition is pushing for 30 per boat. That cuts the limit effectively in half. Guys, I'd like to see it go to 5 per angler. Are you guys okay with 10? Do you need 10 per angler?
Well, I like to see the boats have incentive to fish. So, I mean, that's kind of the logic behind 10 per person, 30 per boat, is if 2 or 3 guys went fishing, they can still go catch 30 fish. And I've dealt with this on the South Atlantic Council, like guys in North Carolina trying to keep a boat limit of 6 wahoo. And, you know, if they cut it down too much, if it wasn't 6 per boat, it was just 1 per person. If they had 2 guys on their charter, they couldn't sell a $2,000 charter or whatever it was at the time for 2 wahoos, because that was the primary fish in their fall. So, you know, you got to be a little bit sensitive to guys. You know, we don't want to, like John said, take people off the water. We want people to enjoy the fishery and not abuse the numbers just because you got 6 people on the boat, kill 60 fish. So, you know, I think we're heading in the right direction with a 30 fish limit, and maybe in a couple of years we revisit that and go down to 5 per person. But, you know, I don't know what the other guys think, but I don't want to see things that discourage people from enjoying the resource. Just let's enjoy it a little wiser.
Nick, you happy with 10 per person?
Yeah, kind of like Ray said, you know, a lot of the charter boats too, they self-regulate down here. I would say on average, most of the boats, if they caught 20 to 30 fish, they're happy. But keeping that fine line, that still makes it worth it, where people are spending, you know, whether recreational or charter, the money to go out there to make it actually worthwhile to go fishing for the day and be able to bring something home if they're putting all the time, effort, energy into it and all that. So I think having a boat limit at 30 would probably be suffice for us.
John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to stay away from large landings, you know, mainly. I know guys up, you know, I grew up Cutler Ridge area and Black Point, you know, loaded with guys going out. Still a lot of single engine center consoles running out of there. I saw the other day when I was up there talking to some guys about this. And, you know, it might be just a couple of guys going. And, you know, it's more of that hunter-gatherer mentality, really. You know, these guys might only get out once every few weeks or something. And for them to go way offshore and just be able to keep 20 fish, you know, it's a big deal to them, too. And our charters, you know, it matters a lot of, you know, so as long as we're capping it at 30, I think it's a good place to start. And like Ray said, you know, revisiting it if needed. You know, we'll see where this takes us. But I think it's a really good place to start.
Well, I can't applaud you enough, John, for your efforts in getting this thing off the ground. You and Blair Wickstrom and working on the Save the Mahi drive. We urge, of course, people to go to floridasportsman.com, Save the Mahi, sign the petition, and hopefully we can keep it in the forefront of everybody's mind and get it in front of the council. And I know that's a hard road to hoe, and we've all been disappointed in the council at different times for different reasons. But, hey, it's our best option, and we're too heavily invested in the fishery to give up. So I couldn't have put 3 guys together that knew more about it. Nick, Ray, John, I can't thank you guys enough.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, guys, y'all take care. You bet. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast tonight from the floor. We did a little different action spotter this week only because Mahi are so important to all of our fishery, and they're threatened, and it is a gateway fish. Oh my gosh, talk about the Riles family tuna. I had a Mahi, a whole 9-pound Mahi in the freezer for months while I begged my dad to let me have it mounted because I knew that was a true monster Mahi, and I wanted it hanging on the wall. But fortunately, he prevailed. But I want every kid that goes out in the Atlantic Ocean to get the same rush I got when he saw that head come out from under that weed and start chasing that bait. See that blunt forehead on a slick, calm day. It's a thrill of a lifetime. Let's make sure we have it for the future. Hey, Florida Sportsman Action Spotter is brought to you each and every week by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. By Shimano, bringing people and nature together. By Tournament Master Chum. It's the best chum on earth. By Nassara Paradise Rentals, your dream billfish vacation. By DOA Lures, the unfair advantage. and by Young Boats. You want the finest in flat span and offshore hybrids? You need to check out youngboats.com. Until next week, when we'll go back to a little more of our traditional podcast, I'm Captain Rick Riles. I'll see you on the rip.